Hi, my name is Kateryna. I will tell in a few words, in a few seconds right now, a few words about me. But today we'll be talking about quite contradictory topic, women leadership, because each one of us at least tried or is leader at some point, right? And each one of us, we have like our own points of view on what leadership is as a concept. So I do expect, I'm thankful very much that we don't have a lot of people. Yeah, I'm scared to death to speak, but still, I truly hope that we'll have a discussion today, that I won't be the only one who will be speaking. Yeah, so let's start. It's the best like format or version of me, not like this. Yeah, but a few words about myself. I'm 11 years in project management in total. Before IT, I had quite different background. I was working in like a professor at the university. I was working tourism. I was working construction as a manager and lawyer. I was a bit crazy in my like young years, but still, in total, everything was related to the management. My previous job, where I spent like 5 years, it was about delivery management and account management. So I was responsible like for around 100 of people. We were working on it was software development. We were working mainly on the projects and products for UK market, and like with a total revenue per year 4 million. It was quite tricky, telling the truth, because I was combining two roles. It was delivery management, where you're completely responsible for the performance quality, where you need to be a bad person at some point, and the account manager, where you act as a devil's lawyer maybe, and you need to sell as much as possible, and you need to grow the accounts as much as possible. Yeah, so that period was the most exhausting, and when I will be referring in the future to some of the tips and tricks that help me with the work-life balance, that's it. Yeah, as of now I'm head of PMO at ELEKS, and we have like my colleagues here, and thank you very much for that. And this month as well I was assigned, better to say, to be ELEKS of Argentina, of our development center, and soon I will be moving there to help with the development of the center. And once more, I'm scared to death. What about me, like in non-professional way? I'm a mom of autistic kid. He's 13. He's precious. He's nonverbal, and he's my biggest motivation, telling the truth. Because if I can negotiate, or if I can agree on something with him, I can agree with everyone else. What are my hobbies? Yeah, foreign languages. I'm still bad with Croatian. I'm like a dog. Jako pas. Okay, you will correct me here. I understand almost everything, but I don't speak. I speak Spanish, Greek, a bit of German, a bit of Italian, but still not so convenient. I love traveling, or at least I loved it before the war in Ukraine started, because I'm Ukrainian. And in my better times, once more before war, I was a fan of horse riding. I truly believe that horse riding is a necessary thing for each and every manager. It really helps you. It helps you with the mental stress, with the stress that you have, because once more, if you can negotiate with the animal that's 3 or 4 times bigger than you, and to convince her or him to do what you want or what is needed to be done, then you can deal with team members easy. Plus, it's a quite good physical activity as well. So today's topic will be split, or I decided to split it into parts. First of all, to talk about a bit about women leadership, how I see it, how I perceive it, what are the strengths of women leadership, what are the expectations from the future, and how we fit in it. And the second part, we'll be talking about work and life balance, how it appeared, what the short history of it. I'm a maniac I'm trying to understand history of anything that I'm interested in, just to get to understand why. And a bit about the tips and tricks. Okay, so I will continue sitting. I'm old already, if you don't mind. And let's start. As I mentioned, for me it's quite important before starting to talk about anything is to understand the histories that stand behind it. Women leadership, what do we know about it? What famous people, famous women we know? Like the old times. I'm not saying Margaret Thatcher, okay? It's the last century. But before that, what do we know? When? Yeva, the one from Madame's side. Okay, she was a smart one.
Yeah, pretty smart.
Because usually when we talk about leadership, you're right, we are talking about the last century, Margaret Thatcher, for instance, Indira Gandhi, but everything related to that. But what was before? I mean, what was the basis and for the current leadership and for the current rights that women have? Based on my understanding, my decision was to pick the suffrage movement. Have you heard about that? A bit. Okay, right now we have a possibility to vote. And we have it thanks to these ladies. Yeah, because they were fighting for women to start voting. And only in 1918 we received the right to vote, and even actually only the women that were about 30 years old and married. Everything, until that, it was either kids, or I don't know what was considered. But they were the ones who decided, who helped us and defined the leadership as a concept, and who put that platform for us and that road that, starting from the moment of the early 20s, let's say, we have the possibility to move forward, to reveal ourselves. For me, if we're talking about the 20th century, for me, my favorites or the best leaders, women leaders that I would like to highlight, and I'm completely thankful for, is Marie Curie, because of the Nobel Prize. I won't be even explaining that. Golda Meir, because I believe that's the first woman who participated in the creation of the country, the official one. Coco Chanel, okay, we won't even mention that because we are ladies, and Oprah Winfrey, for me, she became an example how you can reach everything that you want while you had not very pleasant childhood, and despite all of that, you've managed to become one of the most powerful women in the US for sure, and in the world as well. So all of those women, and I believe that you have your own heroes, or at least people that you are being inspired by, they set up the leadership, the concept of the leadership, the current one. But what about the modern leadership? What are the strengths of the women right now? So if we take a look, and based on the researches that were done by McKinsey and KPMG, the strength of women leadership right now in comparison to the previous one, it's the empathy, right? How, usually before in late 80s, late 90s, women were judged by the fact that they are empathetic, they are not so aggressive, they are not so persuasive, right? But as of now, empathy is one of the key strengths that women need to have and that helps them in their work. I had rule while I was working as a delivery manager. I had rule with my project managers and the team. Then, starting from the first day that they joined the team, I was expecting them to know everything about every team member within a team. So what's the name of the wife or the husband, the name of the kid, favorite hobbies, TV shows, whatever it is, what's happening on a weekly basis, or where do the team members plan to go on vacation or whatever it is. Because if you don't know what's happening with your team members, with your colleagues, with your peers at home, you cannot help them to be productive at work. And for me, helping others, it's about leadership. So it was just like a must rule, I believe. And we did even, I was not the best person when I was a delivery manager, but still, we did a weekly checkups about the team members and their background, their home background and home situation. What else? We are good at multitasking. I'm not sure how many of you have kids, but when you're coming back from work to home, you need to cook, you need to pay attention to your kid, you need to listen to your husband, partner, significant other, whatever, And sometimes you need to respond to your work messages. We are great at that. In comparison with men, that process, I'm terribly sorry guys, that process only one thing at a time, we are good in successful processing of set of the times. Whether it's good, I wouldn't be so sure, telling the truth, But still, it's our great advantage, being good at doing multiple things at a time. We focus on a teamwork. For us as women, we're not used to work separately. We are not as ambitious at some point, but I'm referring to the single ambition. I should be the best. I'm only one, and I should be recognized as one of the best. We used to work in teams. Why so? Because like initially we were allowed to stay only in the family based on the researchers. So we can account with the support of the team. So our focus on teamwork is much higher in comparison with men. What else? We are strong communicators. Once more, I will be referring, I believe, a few times today to the McKinsey, as a company, but they did a great research in 2020, if I'm not mistaken, with the year. And if you're interested, I can send to you all of the reports later on after the conversation. They evaluated with a set of questions 100 companies, top companies over the world, and they were asking, like, one of the questions that they were asking: who is communicating better, your manager, like male manager or female manager? And how do you imagine the statistic of the answer? You don't have, you are not wrong, just guess.
We have a hint, strong communicators are given.
Yeah, but still percentage.
30-70.
Pardon?
30-70 in favor of women.
You're right, but it was 72, So usually, I believe the statistic does not lie, but still, it was confirmed already by researchers that we are open communicators. Despite our characters and being sometimes a bit chaotic, we still can communicate clearly, openly, and with empathy, and it's much more valuable in comparison with the men's style of communication. Guys, once more, I'm truly sorry, but still. We encourage free thinking. Why do we have that? One of the reasons behind that is, once more, we have like a younger generation here, but my generation, for instance, from the childhood, I was always told, you need to be a good girl. You need to stay calm. You don't need to show yourself out. You just need to be obedient. And from that obedience, I didn't have any chance to reveal myself or to thinking freely at some points. I was fighting with that. I hope I've changed that in me at least a bit. But still, the thing that we lacked in our past, we are trying to nurture in our team members, in our peers, in our colleagues. So once more, in comparison with men that originally were always told that everything is great, you're a leader, you're a hunter, you will bring that, animal to the home, while the women will be like silently staying there. So that's another one of the advantages. Of course, higher emotional intelligence. When we're talking about the higher emotional intelligence, I'm not talking about empathy only as a part of it. It's ability that women have to recognize the emotions of other, and to elaborate with that, because it's not only to control our emotions, it's to help others to control it. And emotional intelligence, it's already even the old word, old concept, but still we somehow are a bit better than men in comparison, and it's our huge advantage from the leadership perspective. Why are those strengths important? Okay, we have leaders, we have those things like pluses for us, we have some advantages that men have, but why it's so important? What's happening in the world right now? If we talk about the world, the modern world context, and I wanted to share it with you here. Why so? Because it's really important to understand where we are we staying, to understand where we will be moving forward. So according to the McKinsey research from the 2020, as of now, we are not having the best situation over the world, and all of us do see it. We have the shift of economic activity. What does it mean? In last 5 years, Asian market, and specifically China, became much more efficient economically than Europe. We do understand that we have that blended approach towards talent market. So it's not easy, it's not like it was to be. An aging population. Unfortunately, in the most developed countries, we have a quite high number of aging population, and it will weigh a lot on the economic of the country. So once more, we'll be facing with the moment that we'll have more people, more elderly people, and we would need somehow to improve, to adjust our economics. Geopolitical instability. I'm the witness of it, and my colleagues as well. We are from Ukraine. You've heard about the war that we have there. It's not only about this war, it's about other military conflict that we have with Israel, and Gaza, other terrorist attacks that we are facing right now. If we take a look for like 40, 30 years back, the life, maybe I will sound old, but the life was much more calmer, I would say, in comparison to what we are facing right now. And once more, we need to take it into account when we're talking about our lifestyle and like economical situation all over the world. The increasing constraints of supply and use of the natural resources. If we're talking about management and leadership specifically, before it was different. I wouldn't dare to say that it was easy, but still, we had enough or even more than enough resources to use, and we were just like in a more relaxed pace planning to what to do with them. As of now, we are getting to the point where we lack the resources, and we need to change our mindset because unfortunately, even like oil, gold, they will be finishing at some point, and we just need to restructure our minds to how we need to deal with it and when we need to plan. A faster pace of technological innovation. I won't even mention AI. Guys, who of you is using AI on your daily basis? Everyone. I'm asking for my recipes for the evening or for dinner or whatever it is, or I'm asking to write a note for me to my granny, etc., etc. So yes, we are facing the situation when at some point technology will either substitute part of our daily activities, both working and personal, or in the worst case scenario, will substitute some of the professions. It's already happening at some point, and it might happen in the future. So once more, we need to adjust and to adapt to it. Increasing availability of knowledge. What's that about? So as of now, we have immense amount of knowledge. We have the ability, the possibility to learn anything that we want in the most comfortable way. Online universities, podcasts, books, offline universities, courses, tech talks, whatever it is. But we, as of now, the problem that we face is how to deal with all of that mess of knowledge, how to structure it. We need to rethink how we are learning, because what we learned yesterday may not be valid in 2 weeks. Okay, I understand that as of now I'm exaggerating, but still. The way of how the knowledge appears due to the same pace of, like a faster pace of technological innovation, need to make us to rethink how we deal with it, how we structure it in our heads. And the last one, but not the easiest, is all over the world, the organization will become larger and more complex, taking into account all of the changes that are happening. And by complex, I mean that they will be facing new problems that they will need to deal with it quite fast. All of that sounds like in black and white. Yeah, very dark, I do understand that. But why I was referring to the context? Because the needs of the future versus women leadership, how we can help and what we can do. I'm truly in love with McKinsey, and I would truly recommend you to read their reports. So in one of their reports, they had like 2 versions of it, Women Matters, and in the second version of Women Matters, they did very interesting research. So they pick 9 criteria. I hope that you will see something at least more or less clear, yeah? So they pick the 9 criteria that define the success of each and every organization. Either it's a public one, a private one, either it's a medium size or big one. And they evaluated at least, I would need to double check, but at least 100 of not only top companies, but a mixed one as well. And also, they defined 9 criteria that will be beneficial or that will have the positive impact on the development of those 9 criteria of the success. And look what? We're in a good position here. Because as you can see, if we take a look on the top 4 items that will help organizations, companies, institutions to grow, women apply more or slightly more in comparison with men. I'm talking about the inspiration, participative decision-making, expectations. Also, we are quite good in people development and role model that are as well very important for the organizational development. So as of now, I can say that we are kind of approaching to the era when we are needed more at some point than and our leadership is kind of required or will be required. Unfortunately, still, if we take a look at the statistics, still we don't have a lot of numbers, positive ones, of the women participating in like C-level position or management position. If we compare the statistics from the last year and like we take a look for the 5 years back, so last year we had 28% on a C-level, like all over the world, where women were taking or were having C-level positions versus 17% that happened 5 years ago. So it's a progress, but still a slow one. As for the junior level, as for the mid-level management, the progress is much better. So we are talking about the 20% in the beginning, like 5 years ago, around 20, and as of now, it's 49. So we are moving so there, and we see, based on all of the data, that it's not the thing that we want to become leaders, that we want to pursue our interest, want to work more, is just business require women leadership, as simple as it could be. So, but when we are talking about women leadership, once more, we are talking about working hard, mainly, and we are talking about work-life balance. I know that like work-life balance is the word that everyone uses, or even like we are stopping to use that. Right now, the new tendency, based on what I know, it's work-life harmony. I will be sincere, I don't believe in work-life harmony as a concept, because it's, for me, it's something quite short time. You cannot have until some specific, except some specific cases. You cannot have it as a continuous thing, as something that you have on a daily basis with your work. But still, why I wanted to talk today about the work-life balance? Because we will have a lot of challenges that we'll be facing with, so we need to think about ourselves. So once more, a bit of history and statistics. The work-life balance concept is an old one. In early 40s, it was defined already that, like before early 40s, the work week was 50 hours per week, 60 hours per week, 45. And in 1940, it was established that the working week will be 40 hours, like all of us, at least we think that we have the 40 hours work week. But in 1980s, Women Liberation Movement was the one who kind of started officially using the term of work and life balance, because they were the ones fighting for the cause to be able to come back to work after the maternity leave. Still, even in 1981, if I'm not mistaken, specifically with the year. But even then, we had to fight for the concept of, okay, I have a kid, I'm a normal person, I still can go back to work, but I just require at least a short maternity leave. It was granted under the concept that, okay, women are like in the workforce, they just need to have it balanced. And from that moment, we like received the official term of work-life balance. What about models of work-life balance? Once more, I won't be like discovering America for you right now. I believe that you've heard about that. But still, there are like, from the most known perspective, there are 3 models of work and life balance. The first one is when you have a complete match, where you have passion combined with love, When it's happening, when we, like, the first profession that will come to my mind will be athletes, because they're completely in love with what they do. Religious people, priests, because the job for them, the work for them, is part of their lives. It's like who they are, for instance. It could be artists as well. So the people who are completely in love with their work, they do not need any life balance, because for them it's life. This profession and this approach is kind of tricky. Why? Because yes, you can be completely in love with the work that you do, but after 10 or 15 years, you can find yourself with a burnout, or you can find yourself with like facing the concept of absenteeism. So yes, it's good model, but based on my understanding, it's good even for specific professions for a shorter period of time. The second model, it's a quite strict separated work and life balance. What do I mean here? It's when, ideally, in an ideal world, you work from 8 to 4, from 9 to 5, from whatever time to whatever time. Then you do like that with a laptop, and you go back home. And you strictly divide your work life from your personal life, from your family life, because it's not only about family life. You will have, at home, you will have personal life when you need to think about yourself, read whatever it is, read, learn, I don't know, practice sports or whatever. Plus you have family, if you have it, so it's even worse. But once more, when it could be good, when it could be efficient, what do you think? This like strict separation. I have work till 5, then it's not my business, it's not my problem. I will see you tomorrow at 9, maybe. When it could be convenient, when it could work.
When you're hired.
Okay, one of the options, yeah, for sure. But even when you're hired, do you do that often in your life?
It depends on your position. Like, I worked in the creative department, that's my guess.
Okay.
But if you're a manager, probably no. Like if you're in a taller position, if you need to answer your clients, if you're interested in development of your department, and if you really work on this, then you need to be able to answer to your clients in meetings.
Okay, I got you. I would agree here with you that it would work if you're a hired person, if you're like not having your own business. But still, it would work only if the company supports that decision, if the business supports that decision. If you have the number of like vacation days, personal times off, or whatever you call it, if we have the concept for women as a maternity leave, for example, then it will work. If not, the women might feel frustrated because you need to, in a minute, you need to make the click in your head, okay, right now I'm a mom, I don't know, I'm a person, but I'm not talking about work. And it's difficult, I've tried, just like a small remark here, I've tried this approach for me when I was like, long ago, when I was living in Ukraine, in Kiev, I had to cross a bridge when I was going from work to home. It took me like 1.5 hours every day, and it was completely illogical because I could rent an apartment just like close to my work. But for me, it was that time where I could do that click and stop thinking about work, because I was crossing the Rubicon. But every time that I was crossing that bridge, I was saying that to me, that, okay, for me, it's a Rubicon, that's it, it stopped. And the third model that more popular, that is much more popular right now is the flexible model, the flexible combination. We have it right now with like COVID. We survived that. We are here. We started having that. What's good about that and what's bad about that? What do you think? It's not a lecture. I'm not the only one here. And I'm surely not the smartest, so I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts.
What's that? For example, if you have family and kids, or cats and dogs, you don't have this possibility. Like when you're going to an office, you're just working, and when you're at home, because of the COVID time, everybody are at home, and you have to respond, and you are always distracted with something, and this is much more harder to concentrate, but at the same time you're like you can do like at the same time you can do your homework, like to take care of the kids, and at the same time you can work, but your like working day will not be like so structured. Like, for example, if you cannot structure it out,
I agree with you here. Ideally, the flexible work-life balance model would be that if you have release on your project, so I don't know, hopefully Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday I'm working late, and then Thursday, Friday I'm taking extra few hours, not concentrating on work, so you can balance it during the week, and you are getting more autonomy mainly to concentrate, like you have more autonomy, more power to divide your tasks, but COVID shown, at least based on my experience, that people were not ready to that autonomy. okay, everything started great. Well, in the beginning, people were working, like they were happy. They were working from 9, even not 10, because like before we had an experience, start working at 10, finishing around 7. They were starting at 9 because I would like to finish earlier to do something with my kids, with my significant other, whatever. And during first couple of months, it was, but I like my job. I don't need to leave literally. It's just to sit onto another sofa and that's it. And I'm at home. Yeah. So I will just be staying late till 7, 8, 9. Then we faced the burnouts. We tried having psychological centers there. We tried to involve psychotherapists to work with other people, explaining the boundaries that you would need to set up, like your working times, the working hours, and the personal ones. Then we faced another problem because people were appearing at work around 11 and they were finishing around 5 because it's autonomy. You have power. You are you're thinking that you already know how to do the work. You've managed to, I don't know, to be successful with the limited hours. So right now we'll be more creative. And we face like another limit. So it's a great approach, a great model how to deal with work and life balance, but one and only your mature personality, and you know how to be responsible at the end and how to balance with all of the possible hours and tasks that you have. So that's kind of my personal experience. How to deal with work and life balance from the practical perspective and not die at the end. Yeah, because I know that usually people do not believe in this concept because it's something that, okay, we know that it exists, but I have never seen that. It's like a unicorn, more or less. So my personal experience, as I was mentioning in the beginning, apart from being delivery manager at that point, I was and I still am a mom of autistic kid. So it's a huge boy with the behavior of 3 years old child. So you need constant monitoring, controlling, I don't know, you need to constantly be over him. And if you deal with those two things, moreover working from home, at the end of the week, not even longer than that, you will become crazy. Yeah, for sure. I can guarantee that I was there. So the first step that I do, I identify my goals. In 2020, I set up the list of goals that I was planning to do during this year. Personal ones, like to get an award in horse riding specifically. Educational ones, goals with my son and goals with my work. So it might sound a bit crazy, but it helped me a bit to balance with the hours that I had during the day. Because the goals were split, they were set up by a SMART principle, and they were split for each and every quarter with the smallest steps and for each and every week. It took me up to a few days to create all of that roadmap. But when I started to go crazy, I was just looking at the goals and understanding that, okay, I need to reach that. So I need to rebalance my time today or tomorrow. And it helped me somehow to get those boundaries.
But like
Yeah.
how do you manage
Tell me.
to set your goals? How do you manage to discipline yourself, like to do those goals? Because it's easy to set up the goals, but to do something on your goals to work on it, it's like completely different.
You will laugh. It's not the best example of work-life balance, but I had tons of calendars. So I had a calendar, like in Google Calendars, on my personal ones. I had a calendar for like...
From church?
Exactly. The church one, the educational one, the one like related to my son, the professional one. I'm really bad with sports. I'm good with reading, studying, learning, but I'm really bad with physical activity. So I had a separate one, apart from the hobby, it's difficult for me to start doing anything. So I had that, and with all of the goals, we split it into hours. Yeah.
But how can you let yourself stick to those hours? How if something happens and you can't do it in that hour and when the life happens?
Like my granny says, you just grab yourself and do that because you see the notification. In the beginning, it was difficult. Yeah. I will be honest. The first 2 weeks, it was just like, Katya, I'm sorry, Ukrainian version, you just need to go there. That's it. Then after 21, in my case more, days, it became a habit. And I started seeing results of it. I understood that I received the reference from new clients. So I received new project, from one of my clients. My son started saying to me in 3 months period, when he was 9 years old, I've heard first time in my life, I love you. And it was not repeating after me, it was his conscious, I love you. So that kind of started motivating me that, okay, if you have that schedule, please stick to it and just continue doing that.
So having results motivated you
Yeah.
to stick to that?
Yeah, in the beginning it was a nightmare. I mean, my best idea then was to get such kind of couch and just lay on it, and that's it. Yeah, nothing more than that. Do what you love. It's quite easy to say, but it's quite difficult to do, because when we are starting to, with our work, whatever it is, we are pretty much in love with it because we've chosen it for some reason, right? But after 5-10 years, you might start hating that. I will be talking about myself because I was always involved more or less in management and communication. But after some period of time, I would tell, it was difficult because people were coming to me with problems. They were not coming with good things. They were coming with problems. We need help. We need to resolve that. We had some issues on that project or whatever it is. And I started hating people. So I just need to convince myself and to understand what can I find to love in my work. And the good thing, and I'm lucky here, I'm a completely geek person. So I love to learn something new. And IT as a domain, as a sphere, not only allows you but pushes you towards learning every day. Because if you're out for, I don't know, a quarter, you need to run twice as fast, yeah, just to be on the same pace with the rest of your colleagues. So that helped me as well. Stick to working hours, yeah? You've mentioned that being manager, it's kind of difficult to have separated approach. For me, it helped in the beginning of COVID. So I set those working hours, and it worked for me for at least for a couple of months. Then I switched to that flexible model. So I truly believe that in some specific jobs, it's more important to see the result rather than the process. So if you can work for hours in the morning, for instance, and then you need to do some of your goals to be with your family, I don't know, to meditate, whatever it is, you can have your own 4 hours and continue at night. So management gives you a lot of stress, like management positions, but they give you flexibility when you can adjust your clients. For instance, I was mainly working with the UK market, but still I had some clients from US and from Vietnam. I love those time zones. Everything is different, etc. So I've split it my week, and I agreed with the clients that I'm available for US 1 day per week, like for calls, for emails, it's other thing. For Vietnam, other day, in another day during the week, and the rest of 3, they were like mainly dedicated to the UK market. It helped me because I managed to balance, I don't know, to do the same horse riding because I had a schedule. Whether it worked always, no. Whether there were some force measures, yes. But if you try to convince even the same clients or your colleagues that, guys, it is what it is, I respect your boundaries, please respect mine. If it's not something critical, it works, based on my experience. Delegate tasks, it's the most difficult one. Yeah, but it was the most difficult one for me. Because being geek, I was the one who was completely convinced that no one will do that better because I'm more thorough, I know how to do that, etc. I was really boring person. But what I did with my management team, with the project managers that we worked together, so in total, there were 9 of us, we agreed to one rule. Each and every project manager, anyone who joins our team, stays under thorough mentorship for 3 months. We are reviewing each and every email. We are reviewing each and every communication. We are staying with him or with her on calls. Why? Just to align with how we do business, just to align with what is based on my vision, is allowed to say to the client and what is not. We were helping them to learn clients once more. I had the same approach that I had with the team. So you need to know your client's name, wife's name, pet name, I don't know, favorite books, etc., etc. So during the first 3 months, it was hard control. Then we had a month trial period where the person was working independently. And after that, people, we went to the 7th level, according to the Apollo. We were just communicated by the managers at the end, or they were just telling me that, okay, we made those decisions, we did that and this, and it was great. But you need to invest time, first of all. It worked for me. It was not easy, but truly worked for me. Learn and listen. I'm geek, yeah? I have kid, work, hobby, sometimes health. It's running like by side. But I want to learn something new. So for me, I changed my concept. I was a fan of reading books. I stopped doing that like 5 years ago, and I started listening. When you're doing like your super boring routine activities, I know that you're doing it already, and I'm not telling you anything new, but still, it really helps. Even if you don't like it, try it. Try it for like 1 time, 2 times, or even more. But at some point, you will be getting that information, and you will be developing yourself, because we just saw the context of the modern world. Yeah, we need to learn something constantly. Adopt healthier lifestyle. For me, it was a hobby, but still maybe with this point, and I will be completely honest with you, I'm a nightmare. I'm not as good with the physical health, and physical activities, but still it's highly recommended to find at least 15 minutes per day to think about yourself. I don't know, to go for a walk, to go to a swimming pool, or whatever it is. What I can tell from the mom's perspective, and here is my beautiful son, but long ago. Just a quick promo. Plan in advance. I was mentioning that already. Calendars helped. I was so lucky, ironically speaking, that with autism you can have tons of calendars, but it's even worse than management from the force majeure perspective. You can plan, I don't know, to go for a walk or to do whatever it is, but your kid may decide to have meltdown, or once more, something that does not fit your schedule. So I was trying to plan in advance, but I've started to evaluate not the quantity of the time of this that was spent, but the quality of it. So I was measuring like myself by that principle, and specifically here, so plan in advance. At the end of the day, I was measuring each and every, mentally laying in bed, each and every area of my life according to the progress principle. What I succeeded, one thing that I succeeded today. I don't know, I've managed to kiss my son and to have a small conversation with him. I've managed to respond to 7 emails or 2 emails even, I've managed to listen 5 seconds of the book, but I did it, So everything that I achieved helped me then motivated me as well to plan in advance. Stop putting pressure on yourself. It's quite easy to say, but it's quite difficult to do. I will be honest, we can fail. It's normal that we fail. We can have our house in a complete disorder, We can order the supper. We can be bad in presentation. We can be bad at something, but it's okay, because we are progressing, we are trying to do something new, and even if we are failing, it's a new experience that we are gaining. I know that it's difficult, but once more, for me, what helped, every evening in the bed, I was saying that I'm so good because today I've managed to do something, I was thinking about tons of bad that happened today, that I failed again with the supper. I didn't do that presentation or that project budget that I had to do. But then at the end, there was always one thing, the simplest one. I don't know, I pour my flowers. And it's good. It was a good appraisal for me. And one by one, it helped me to put less pressure. It didn't go away, I will be honest, but still the amount of it, it's much less in comparison. List your do's and don'ts. A quick tip from my end. So in the beginning, it was kind of difficult to combine management position, middle management one, and personal family life. So what did I do? I've prepared the list of what I like to do, my do's, what I will be doing, whatever it takes, like cooking. I love cooking. And what I won't be doing unless the cost of it's more than 1 hour of my personal cost. So everything that was cheaper for me to delegate, house cleaning. I know that some of the people love house cleaning. I do adore you. It's not my thing, I don't know, shopping, whatever it is, I just calculated the cost of the services that could be delegated, could be outsourced, and I just outsourced them. I gained tons of time. Yes, I've spent money, but I gained additional time where I could invest in my personal development. And as a result, I received like additional income that I could once more invest and like review my list of do's and don'ts. Yeah, it helped me a lot to, once more to stay sane at some point in the beginning. Okay, and the last one, I promise. My tips and tricks working from home. All of us, we've been into like COVID times, we worked from home. So my personal tips and tricks that help me is to stick to the morning routine and lunch break. How many of you face the situation where you were, like after 2 months since COVID started, that you were joining the meeting in pajamas?
Always.
Okay, not in pajamas, but not like in official clothes, like that. Yes, completely. Sometimes doing that even now. But after a few months, I understood that. Okay, you are still at work, you just need to do some morning routine, you need to have a breakfast and lunch, because usually when you work from home, what you do is, okay, one like last email, last meeting, last, I don't know, task, and like in a second, and then you have your lunch or breakfast at 5. My manager in my current company taught me here, like the first thing when I joined ELEKS was to please set the lunch time in your calendar. It's like a mandatory thing. And whatever happens, you do not exist at that period. Like simply. Okay, they can write you, the world can just fall down, but you do not exist. And I did that, and as of now, it helps me a lot. I don't know. Divide and conquer, separate your working place. Yeah. Usually, where do you guys work from home? I do understand different apartment zone, etc. But I was working from kitchen. The fridge is closed. If so, the coffee pot is closed. It's not good because you're losing the sense of reality, telling the truth. So I had quite small apartment, so I just like put some of the set of chairs to make my zone, and it was a working one, and no one was allowed to cross that, not even my son. Yeah, and after that I put like some tent over it, so I had my working place. Yeah, I was trying to separate it. It helped because when I was leaving it, I was leaving work. And the last but not least, continue networking. While working from home, it's quite easy. Okay, I have time for me for, I don't know, yoga, meditation, sport, watching films, reading for my kids. But you need still to continue networking with your colleagues and peers. Sometimes, often in my case, I'm not so motivated to do that. But I, once more, I have my calendars. I sound like a really not a chaotic person, but I am. Calendars help to everything. I have a calendars with meetings with my team members, with my ex-team members. We have a tradition, for example, with some of my teams that I'm already not working with them for 4 or 5 years. We have scheduled every 6 months meeting with them just to talk about how they are. I have even, I'm crazy, but I know, I have even a separate folder in Google Drive, given the fact that I know all of their background, or at least what was in their background. When I see some interesting articles, some interesting movies, I'm just gathering that there. And when we are having that meeting once in a lifetime, once in 6 months, so we have topics to discuss, and people do feel that I still care about them. It's honest, because I love them, because I've invested tons of time. Even 1 year, it's a lot of time that you invest in relationship. And it's really a pity when you have another team, you're moving to another project, to another job, that you lose that connection. Because we have and we live much more in our work than in our family life until very, very old age. Yeah. So for me, it's honest. For them, it's pleasant, and I have still some of the teams, the one that we stopped working on the project, it was 2016, but still every 6 months. We get together online right now, yes, because of the life and war and everything that we are facing right now. But we are gathering online, and we are talking about things, about hobbies, about some new things that people learn. And it's really nice, and it's one of the ways that you could network, if you don't like to go and do it in an offline format. And the last, but I believe the most interesting part, you can start using and following all of the tips You can be successful with work and life balance. You can have your own tips, but for sure, there are periods when you will be feeling like that. When everything will fall down, when you will be thinking that, why, it's my favorite gift. I know that's not the best quality, but still, this lady is hilarious. Because there will be days when you will be balancing, or you will be not knowing what to do and how to do, but it will pass. I can tell it from my experience. And we have the Q&A session if you have any.
I had a problem, so probably I will start.
Okay.
I had a problem with this planning and schedule by COVID time. Now it's a little bit different, but still I had a schedule. For example, I had a scheduled like break for 10 minutes per hour. Because I realized that I was sitting for 5 hours and
in a row,
not waking up, and even not realizing that the day is going by and I even haven't seen the sun outside. So I had this like kind of meeting for 10 minutes go outside, and then I had the problems when, for example, I have some tasks to finish. So, but the notification is already on my monitor, so we have to go out, and I'm like, okay, a little bit more, 10 minutes more, and I will go out. And then I forget that I have to go out. So how to handle this situation? How, because, you know, when you're concentrated on something, and you will leave it, and then you need some time again to go back to this. And you, no, I will finish, and then I will go out. So how to handle this?
I can give you two advice. First of all, I had a chance to work with one of the project managers who had the same approach as you have, yeah? So every 2 hours, he had a 10 minutes break. And for instance, we have a meeting planned for 10 minutes break. He informs us that he will have the 10 minutes break anyway, so just please do not overlap with it. We were thinking like, okay, management, yeah, you will adjust. It's 10 minutes only, no one will die. And what we are seeing is that during this meeting, the notification tells him that 10 minutes, he closes the laptop and goes. As simple as this. I was in shock, the team was in shock. I was talking to him and he was explaining that there are boundaries. That's one thing, yeah? And if I stop doing that, I will be less efficient. And second, if you want to finish task, one of my previous managers, he told me one thing. Before you are finishing your task, you press that done. Or before you're sending an email, make a pause, do not send it out. I don't know, go for a smoke, go to have coffee, just, I don't know, make a short trip around the table. First of all, you will refresh your mind, you will see it from the different perspective, and you will correct it 90%. I can give you the accuracy 90%. All of my emails are done like that. So I'm just taking a short break. So just simple, just do it. I know it's difficult because, okay, what people will think, it's only 10 minutes, whatever it is. I've tried once with one app called like Powering the Plant or something like that, that my phone was screaming as crazy one that your plant right now needs water. It helped a lot. I was just saying to my colleagues, okay, I just need 10 minutes break, yeah? And I managed to grow that plant to quite like a good level, yeah? Then I stopped, but still, just stop doing that. I know it's difficult. I know it's easy to say.
Boundaries, you have to think
Yeah.
about the boundaries.
Yeah.
If I have to go out, I have to go out.
Yes, because at the end you will be more efficient. If you die after 5 hours in row sitting, or you will be going, let us be honest, I don't know whether you did it, but I did it for sure. If you're going to, at some point after 8 hours or 8 hours of meeting in a row, you are going to bathroom with a meeting, it's not okay. You just need to set up the boundaries, and that's it. I was there. It's not good. I didn't like it there. Any other questions? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, advice for a new mom, just
Oh.
going back to work on Monday.
Okay.
So, is there new advice, any tips or how to...
How old is your son or daughter?
It will be 4 months.
Oh, he's so cute. I love those kids at that age.
Yeah, I can't wait to
So I don't have a problem with that. It's just, I don't know, after giving birth or something, you just feel like your brain stops, you know, like empty a little bit. So just kind of how to get back up to speed.
Good question. For me, the most difficult, I started working when my son was 7 months old, yeah, so like additional 3 months, but still. For me, the most difficult thing was that I'm spending less time with him. Yeah? Okay, but then I will ask you the following. Right now you're with him like 8 hours, 10 hours, 12, depending on how he sleeps, yeah? Okay. So if we think about that number of hours, how much high quality time you're spending with him, because you need to cook, maybe you need to clean something, yeah? So in total from those 8 hours, you might be spending 4 when you're, I'm sorry if I'm judging or if I'm sound judgy, yeah? But I was like, I was thinking, or I was doing that to myself, that from 8 hours that I'm with my kid at home, I'm just giving him, I don't know, or cartoons or some toys, but I'm cleaning, cooking, watching, responding to messages, and the quality time with him is 4 hours, the top. So you will have the same, but you will have the quality time with him. Do not rely on quantity staying with your kid. I know it's hard in the beginning. It's really hard, because when you go for work and you leave that beautiful angel at home, it's like, okay, I'm bad mother. You are not. You are not. You will come home successful. You found yourself at work, you will be progressing there, and your son, when he grows a bit up, he will be seeing you happy and with more qualitative time with you, rather than like staying at home for 10 hours, but 4 of them sometimes screaming at him.
No,
I did it.
I agree with that. That's why I'm
Yeah.
going back. It's just, of course, in Croatia, everyone is like, for 1 year on maternity, so I think everyone looks at me like crazy person.
No, I did that. I did that as well.
Yeah, so it's nice to hear someone else did similar. Yeah.
I started working when he was like part-time working, when he was 3 months old, and when he was 7 months old, I completely switched to 12-hour shift. It was not a good choice, but it hasn't lasted for more than 6 months, so it's better. Not at all.
My question is, you mentioned that in some point in your life you started to not like your position, not like your
Yes.
field.
I hated people.
Expertise. People. And my question is, so how did you come back to the point where you like it, you do it, and you do it happily, or is
Happily, yeah, I can say that. I changed the factor. So at some point, once more, when I was working directly with the projects and delivery, I understood that the stress that I'm getting from there is bigger than the nice things that I could learn there, that I could achieve there. Yeah, so I switched to project management office, to working with managers, to training them, to mentoring. Because it's, in comparison, it's a bit less of stress. You have daily escalations or anything like that, but still it's not the same that it was. Plus, you see people grow. And for me, it was, apart from like learning something new, when you see that you're telling something in an informal way, or you're explaining, or you're teaching something managers in informal way. I don't believe in formal education at all. And after like a month or 2 months, you see them doing that, that's the best. I even like stopped hating managers in specific.
So you basically like changed not the perspective but the role.
Yes,
And
yes.
then the approach changed.
Yeah.
To the task.
Plus, like before the war, I was planning to do my master in psychology. Unfortunately, it helps. Like understanding what's happening with your head, and then maybe help others. So that helped as well, to be completely honest. Yep.
So I run my own business, and I've been doing so for about 7 years now.
Wow, impressive.
So I've kind of developed a rhythm. So I think I've got a very good work-life balance, and I'm very, very, very strict with my boundaries, very clear with my clients. But the one thing that I struggle with is failure. I think because my work is a service, I love what I do. It's a passion. I have to do it all day, every day. It's not a thing for me, but I really struggle with failure. And I've battled to kind of to shake it off, because it hangs on me for a while. And so I just wanted to know, how do you move past it?
Move past what? I believe that I misheard it. I'm really sorry.
Move past the failure. So to
Failure. Ah, okay. Oh.
it happens to all of us.
Yes. Not my potentially even today. Yeah, I would call it, but it's okay. My biggest failure, I will be honest as well, it's the time that I haven't invested in my personal development and in my kids' development. That I was relying more on the schools. For you, it's related to business. For me, it's a personal thing. I was relying more on schools rather than in my personal education. How I dealt with it. It will sound strange, yeah, but I did I make my lessons learned from it. So I made for myself a small presentation. I failed here, here, and here. What do I learn from that? Because I was punishing myself for at least 6 months, specifically for that area in my life, yeah? What have I learned from here? And what are the next steps that needs to be done to avoid that? You cannot cover anything for sure, but after 3 months, I live in quarters. After a 3 month period, I just checked whether all of those steps that I've tried to implement, or at least a bigger part of those, whether they brought some good results. They did. And only after that, I stopped punishing me for failure. When I fail at job, I just try to honestly recognize it, with some, tasks, with some communication. I'm trying to be open, to recognize it, and just for me to make a list of don'ts that, okay, Kate, you won't be doing like that as of now. But only when you see the results of lessons learned that you're either making in your head or for me, it was better to do a presentation, but with the pace of time, not immediately. I mean, it was my way of doing that.
So you talked about building teams,
Yeah.
building relationships within teams. It's based on your experience
Yeah.
and age. Like me, you started in a totally different environment where going to work was the only way. Before laptops, we had the box, we had no email on the mobile phone. But let's leave that aside. So nowadays, I'm a coach, so I'm regular with people. And the biggest struggle I see is how to build relationship nowadays when people don't even turn on their cameras. So my question would be, do you have any particular rules, agreements within your current working environment that actually help to cross this? So to get to know people without having this opportunity to go for a coffee, go for a lunch break, things that previously were normal and used
easy.
to know a lot about
Yeah.
people around us. Nowadays, what I see is just I leave my own work, I just move to another team's organization. And
You're not linked to anything. Yeah, you just work separately. Great question. I will be honest. Yeah, right now the community or the office where I'm working at consists of 118 managers of different levels, and it drives me crazy, from different backgrounds, meaning I have project managers in Argentina, in Croatia, in Poland, in Ukraine, different regions. It's like Zagreb and Split here, so different mentalities completely, as well. In US, but it's mainly about time zone. Around 70% of people are not turning on their cameras. When we are joining the big meeting, we have so-called open mic. Ira won't let me lying on that. So when we have an open conversation without any recording, we have 70% who are without cameras. What I do there, I'm not pushing, because I don't believe that if I make everyone turn on the cam, they will be listening or more carefully or participating more actively. What we're trying to do now is to start the initiative of Know Your Colleague, where we'll be trying to de-anonymize our colleagues, because, we have 100+ people. We have some so-called Martin, who's sitting in Argentina. We have some so-called Marco, who's sitting in Zagreb. And those are just simple names on the laptop, and that's it. So we are planning to make a short intros of each one of those, but mainly about their hobbies, mainly about what are in their lives, or how they are, or what they are, or who they are, apart from being project manager at ELEKS. That's it. So we will be trying doing that. I had more successful experience when I was working at my previous company. It was COVID times. It was like 1 year, like we survived the first year of COVID, and we did the same. We asked all of the team members to join, like, okay, there was a smaller amount, 80 people in our local office, but all of us were joining online. So there was a rule when we were talking about our hobbies, and hobbies were just like, for instance, one of our colleagues was a bartender in the past, and he was teaching us how to make a cocktail. I don't know how to make it except I don't know how it's called Bloody Mary, yeah, because juice and whatever it is, it's mixed and that's it. But if you want to join the meeting, you will turn on the cam. And whatever you look like, I mean, you can be in pajamas, you can just like woke up like 3 minutes ago. You can put a mask, because we were using other style of Google Meets. So we were allowing people to put their funny masks just for them to feel safe. Yeah, and I was quite strict with any comments, any irony, any sarcasm. If I've heard anything like that on the meeting, the person was banned till the end of the year. It's straightforward, I do understand. It's not the best thing, maybe, but it helped people to understand boundaries, because all of us, especially now, we truly believe that we are unique personalities and everyone needs to understand us. Yes, but there are still boundaries. So we had that rule, plus we had that punishment. I'm referring right now to applied behavioral analysis. So that punishment, that if you don't do that, you will be banned from the community, and you might miss some interesting things.
Was that part of the working hours?
Yes and no, because we usually, we had a flexible hours. Mm-hmm. Yes and no, once more. Usually people were starting at 10 until 7, so we were making that at around 8:30 in the morning, if it was something, based on the topic. Yeah, if it was something about coffee, because we had coffee seminars as well. If it was something about cocktails, we make that in the evening. But we were making it there was a short overlap with working hours, but only 30 minutes. And people stayed. Not from 80 people, not 100%, but at least 50 people stayed till the end, and they were talking.
How did you collect topics?
We asked everyone to talk about what they love in their lives. So we had, for God's sake, talking about dancing. I forgot, Vogue dance, okay, and the girl was showing it how to dance. And I was talking about horse riding, about autism. Colleagues were talking about writing a book, because one of our developers, he was writing a book. So he was explaining why, how, reading a part of it. So people were talking about their passion, their hobbies. Then they were open, and we were learning something new. Help me, I don't know, it might not help in other situations, but for me it worked.
Is there a way to deal with those people who do not want to open themselves? For example, this meetings where you're talking about the hobbies, and there are people, for example, I had one problem. I was a key lead, and I had 2 girls in my team, and I also wanted to persuade them to talk about personal, because I also think that you need to know the person and what is happening in the person's life. Yeah. So, because sometimes I was thinking, okay, maybe she failed because she has some problems, so that's why I was asking, is everything okay? And the answer was just, yes, everything is fine, but then I see that something is wrong with the person. And how do you can we persuade people to open themselves?
Good question. I strongly believe that we cannot persuade them. If you ask me right now, how am I will tell you I'm okay. The first reaction. Not because I don't like you or anything like that. It's a normal reaction because I don't know you. Until people know something about you, they won't be open. They won't open to you. I had a case with one team lead when he joined. It was a long time ago. 7 years ago, he joined the team, quite promising, technical lead, moving back from Poland. For us back then in Ukraine, it was just wow, okay, he's moving back from Poland to join us, our team. And it was a disaster for the first 2 months. He was not delivering in time, he was not speaking, he was he had that concept of absenteeism. He was at work, he did something, but nothing as was expected. I was talking to him, I was asking, etc., etc. Nothing worked until I was lucky. Until one moment I saw him and his wife near one of the schools, and they were trying to put their kids into school, like after a few years living abroad. And I just it was not maybe good from my end, but I approached them and I asked them whether the help is needed. Of course, he told me no, everything is okay, it's obvious. But his wife told me yes, please, because we are already dealing 2 months with this new system for us, new relatively. So I helped them there, and next day he started at least responding to me. Because I had teams where I was working for 2 months, a team of 11 boys, men, yeah? And the only communication that I was getting from them during stand-ups, it's stickers and their status on stickers. We were sitting in one room. So he started speaking with me, and slowly but surely, after a couple of months, he explained that it was not his idea, not his initiative to come back from Poland. It was only what his wife wanted. And right now, he is the one who deals with all of that, all of those problems, around, and he was exhausted. So you need to try to find the way how to, how to contact friends or other maybe acquaintances to find what's really happening, because the person will not tell you that, for sure. I mean, you cannot expect from the person that he or she will respond, how are you? I'm bad. I'm having bad days. I'm having problems at home. No one will do that.
Or kind of start with your kind of approach a little bit more. Just kind of with some of your problems, because I find it because I manage developers, and I was a developer for years, and I never been a project manager or something like that. I always find the project manager always comes with this kind of fancy, how we see it.
Okay.
And they kind of go what is your tool or something like that, but it's kind of, they think, I don't like it, because we want to look now, we want to understand me now. I play games and watch TV,
Something he wants to talk about.
Yes, but it's still a hobby. But you would need to make a more comfortable or safe atmosphere for them.
Yeah, that's what I meant. So I found it much more like you said, speak personal life, more about just normal life without any big fancy things, and then they open and then they start playing games or big meetings and hobbies and stuff.
Or just seeing you. That team that I mentioned that were ignoring me completely with the stickers only, it was a nightmare. I was trying in the beginning. I was young and stupid. I was trying to bring them sweets every day. I have made a rule of sweet Wednesdays, and I was bringing either fruits or sweets. They were taking that, eating, no words. It was a couple of months like that. I just accepted the fact that, you're blonde, you're stupid, maybe you're not understanding something, it's how the life is, etc., etc. But then we had quite unpleasant moment with the client. He was not the best person that I have known, and he was he tried to negotiate the agreement, and he decided he will not pay for the last month, of all of the work that was done by the developers. And also he initiated the process of my rotation, because he was not happy with project management. No obvious facts or reasons, but he was like that. There was his problem, his personality. And I was just reading that email out of loud. Why? Because it was the only way to communicate it to them, and to get to know that at least they've heard that. And after the praise that potentially Kate will be rotated from the project because we are not happy with her, blah, 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 one of them, a technical lead, stood up and told, no, we are happy with you. You are not bothering.
They just don't need that.
We'll solve that issue. Just give us a few days. And after a few days, when they explained to customer, they sabotaged, not the best way, but they sabotaged the other manager that was aside from customer side. They understood that it's better for them to keep me, and maybe I'm not such a good person, such a bad person. Maybe I'm just I'm worth talking to. So after that the period of nightmare, we start communicating. Yes, you're right with that. If not any questions, I believe that we are out of limit. And you will kill me now, but okay. Really, guys, really thank you for coming here and listening. I'm not the best speaker, but I did my best, and I will do that in the future. It was really nice discussion. Thank you.